Okay, so I'm not entirely sure where I left off in the previous video, but I know I was speaking about the fact that I have poor, I have poor coordination. So, yes, our gross motor skills we need to develop early in life. It's part of the crawling, it's part of touching things, reaching for things, and as we build those muscles in our body, it actually then helps you to develop more precision skills, which is your fine motor skills. So I have this little I want to show you um a park. It sounds very funny. I want to show you the way the park is used to help with muscle development. Okay, so I wrote this a while ago for a different reason, but I thought I'd share this with you. So, playing in the park benefits us in many ways. It's an essential tool in child development. I'm not going to read all of this for you. I want to show you how the various pieces of equipment within the park space actually helps development for children. So, an example, I think it's called the roundabout, it helps with sustained attention and balance. The seesaw with body control and timing, spatial awareness and body awareness for the swing, and then the next one is balance and strength. That is the jungle gym, I think they call it, right? The jungle gym, yes. And so okay, I have a resource here. I took it from these websites. I didn't put it in the correct order because this wasn't for the purpose of this video, but I just wanted to show you that our development, our gross motor development, really takes place in every part of the world. Climbing a tree, kicking a ball, gross motor development is part of sport. It's part of playing, play fighting, even all of this help with muscle development. Okay, usually at this point I play this video as part of my video, so you don't have to actually access YouTube and then come back here. But it is a little bit long and I want to go through one or two other things that I've also uploaded. So I'm not going to play the video completely. I'm just going to play the first few minutes and then you go to Unit 5 under Gross and Fine Motor Skills and you can watch the rest of the video. It's going to take some time to actually open up. Okay, so this is going to give you an idea a little bit around gross and fine motor skills. And I don't actually want us to waste time, so let me pause until it starts.
Many parents are often gross motor skills and fine motor skills. Gross motor skills are when children learn to make all of their muscles and joints. So it's things like walking, crawling, running, jumping, climbing, anything where they need to all of their muscles movements in a coordinated way. Oftentimes, gross motor skills are related to their core strength. So how strong their trunk muscles are, can they sit up straight, do they have good control and coordination to run and jump and climb, and do that in a way that is coordinated. Fine motor skills are built on your gross motor skills. Often, in order to have good quality, strong fine motor skills, you need to have solid gross motor skills. So, for fine motor skills, we're looking at things like how children hold their pencil, are they able to cut with scissors, do they hold their utensils properly when they're eating. So it's really how they use the smaller muscles of their hands to coordinate doing more precise and accurate motion.
Okay, so you can watch the rest of the video on your own. I just wanted to give it a start. We spoke about a lot of the concepts that she has mentioned in that video, but I just wanted to give you a bit of a snapshot of what it talks about. Okay, so now moving on to fine motor skills. And fine motor skills is really built on the gross motor skills as we heard in the video and as I said earlier. And usually, we know that kids develop at different rates, okay? But there are milestones that we generally expect them to meet. And so it includes fine motor skills. So it is a milestone. So for example, at around age 5 or 6, children can usually make, sorry, I use a lot. I'm going to try not to. They usually copy shapes and letters. They use a fork and a spoon. And 9 and 10, they usually do things like use a ruler without becoming but some kids struggle with skills for a long time, and if you have trouble with motor skills, it may be a sign of developmental coordination disorder, which is DCD. I don't want you to think about that, but it may be an indication of things like um, a coordination disorder. Some people call it dyspraxia. And kids with dyspraxia, it's a learning difference that impacts on your writing, and you also have trouble with motor skills. And usually they don't really pick it up until you are in school and teachers notice it. But anyway, that is just a delay with your fine motor skills affected learning. So you can see that fine motor skills are necessary. It's important for school readiness. It's also the ability to make movements using smaller muscles with your hands and wrists. It plays a role in thinking or cognition and language development. It's needed for holding a pencil, drawing, using scissors, getting dressed, coloring, and so on and so forth. And they're basically necessary for many school tasks, but for many tasks at home as well. We need to use fine motor skills. With gross motor skills, so remember I said children achieve differently in terms of their gross motor skills. So, for example, a 3 or 4 year old, they usually, if they are typically developing, then we would see that they would be able to jump in the air a certain amount with both feet a certain height. By 7 or 8, they can usually ride a bike with training wheels and begin to do so without training wheels as they get older. And if you are missing, or if there is a struggle with motor skills, it might be, difficulty either physically with their physical growth in their body or because they're not moving the muscles or working the muscles enough. Gross motor skills involves movements of large muscles, arms, and legs, and the torso, as we said. Kids who struggle with gross motor skills have trouble doing whole body movements like climbing, jump, or jumping jacks. And these challenges affect and impact the child's self esteem. And remember, if you're struggling with gross motor skills, most likely means that it will be a challenge to develop those fine motor skills. Gross motor skills are necessary for balance, coordination, body and awareness, physical strength, reaction time, etc. etc. Okay, so that is where the gross motor skills come in, and we've just spoken about fine motor skills. So, can you see how the physical domains have an effect on your ability to learn as well? Please watch the videos on fine and gross motor skills that I've uploaded. There's also a video on pencil grip and dysgraphia that I'd like you to watch if you are able to do so. I'm now going to move on to just a very, very quick look at executive functioning, and then I'll make sure that this is the last video. In case we run out of time at the end, these are some of the references that I've used. The others are because I uploaded, I didn't add all of them, but those are some of them. I'm going to go on to executive functioning now. Okay, so executive functioning, this is something that I introduce on the in Unit 5. You can watch the video, which is going to help you really understand what it is. I'm not going to go into it here. But basically it's about the skills needed for children to really be able to work in the classroom space. It's a set of skills. And if have difficulties with these executive functionings, which you need to develop as a child, it will really affect your ability to do your work, because those some of the skills involve things like planning. So planning is necessary for when you need to do homework, when you need to do a task, when you need to get done for school. Executive functioning is really about memory, control, attention, as you can see here. And executive functioning is a very, very whenever a child, if there's a child with ADHD, you'll know that they have struggles with executive functioning. I know it sounds confusing because if you haven't gone through it yet, or you haven't watched the video, or you haven't read what I've uploaded on executive function, is all going to sound confusing. So if you haven't, pause now, go and do that first, and then come back and then watch the rest of this video. So executive functioning, one of the tasks is a response to inhibition, so stopping yourself from doing things you aren't supposed to do. Think about some kids that just do things that aren't able to even stop themselves. They can't inhibit their actions. Working memory, remembering information that you need when you need it. Some kids aren't able to access their memory because it is a challenge in their brain with the memory part of the brain. Emotional control. Remember what we spoke about the brain earlier. Which part of the brain do you think this is happening in? Okay. And then emotional control, controlling your feelings through using your brain. Sustained attention, paying attention even when you are distracted, tired, or bored. And as you can see, there's time management here, flexibility, metacognition. Kids that have ADHD, they struggle with many of these tasks. You'll always see executive functioning being a challenge for kids that have ADHD. So I want you to think about these types of things as well in your learning, because part of understanding children is understanding the things that they can that make up who they are and helps them to learn, but also what do they struggle with and why does this affect the way they're able to learn. So I promise we're not going to do another video, so I'm not going to do it look at the graphomotor skills. I would like you to do that on your own. Thank you for getting to the end of these videos. I know it's a lot of time and I know it's a lot of data, but I do want to assure you that I've tried to cover everything that was necessary to cover in this unit in these videos, to also give you some examples and some ideas. The reading will help to round out your learning. And when you are teaching or when you're in the classroom, I'm hoping that some of these things will come back to you and help you to really understand your learners in a very different and real way. Thank you so much. Good luck with Unit 5. Good luck with the assessments for Unit 5. And I'm so excited that you're at the end of this cluster and you can finally take some time to breathe and relax before the start of your new cluster.